Thank you for joining us this wonderful evening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We really appreciate that, and we're really honored with your presence. Okay, my name is Gnana. I'm the Director of Corporate Communications with Kuchi Global, and I will be your MC tonight. This evening marks the culmination of a vision that sought to make this world a better place. The first chapter of the National Landscape Architecture Scholarship Program equips a few outstanding students with the necessary tools to make their journey in education and beyond a tad simpler. On that note, let's start with a symbolic gesture, a ceremonial mark of anything auspicious, the lighting of a lamp. I'd like to invite our guest of honor, Mr. Giulio Ceppi, to initiate this proceeding.
Please don't.
A round of applause for Mr. Ceppi. I'd also like to request Mr. Roben Dass, Chairman and Managing Director of Kuchi Global, to join suit. And may I also request our other esteemed guests, Mr. Minesh Parikh, Mr. Jata Kohli, Ms. Jasleen Walia, and Mr. Roger Gunn to participate in this ritual.
Yeah, this side, please. Sonu, please.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Before we proceed, may I please request all our guests to kindly set their phones on silent? And thank you for honoring that request. In the words of Simon Sinek, and I'm referring to the golden circle theory, the core of any matter, there is one question, which is, I'm sure you all know, it's the question why. So why we're all here? Let's get started with that, shall we? The NLAS program. In order to get started, let's kindly welcome a few of our guests to the stage. To begin with, Mr. Roger Gunn. I'd like to request you to join us on stage. Okay. A round of applause for him. Ms. Nandita Parikh, would you do us the honor of joining us on stage? Mr. Giulio Ceppi. Thank you much, sir. And lastly, Mr. Roben Das. So the NLAS program, the National Landscape Architecture Scholarship Program. This program seeks to promote critical thinking, inspire an interdisciplinary approach, and endorses the application of knowledge seeking to empower a new generation of landscape architects, designers and urbanists as well, with a keen anticipation of the future. The scholarship is a platform that will provide an opportunity for worthy students to succeed in academics and in life. Additionally, it would facilitate appropriate stimulation to present their work, innovative projects or ideas with peers amidst distinguished jury from academia and business fields. The program also encourages students to foster a network of future leaders that can inspire new vision and commitment to improving life circumstances. Now, in the words of the gentleman sitting right there, Mr. Roben Dass, the scholarship is much more than financial aid. The hope is that young people will be motivated to use their education to contribute to society for the benefit of a much wider community, alongside maximizing their own true potential. I could go on and on about the program, but let's hear it from the man himself. I'd like to invite the man I have seen always leading by example, the winner of the Inspiring Leader Award this year. Okay, Mr. Roben Dass, Chairman and Managing Director of Kuchi Global, to come up to the dais and share a few words with us. I'd also like to request Ms. Sujata Hingorani to kindly felicitate Mr. Roben Dass. Kindly give them a round of applause, please.
I'm going to rather give it to her. The other way around. Thank you. Nice to use each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roben Dass. Podium mix.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here today. We welcome you aboard on a journey together of making that special difference in the industry, in the community, and consequently, the world at large. Kuchi Global, as we are known, today began its journey in 2004. Today we are the fastest growing brand in this industry in the world. We have 21 locations across 12 countries. At this juncture, we continue to grow and evolve. I take a pause to reflect, critically evaluate, and assimilate the vision of this company. So a very interesting question I ask, how is the market changing today? And how can leaders of the 21st century businesses surf the tide equally? On this note, 21st century skills, what are these? The 4 C's, creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and most important, global awareness. These are all the virtues that Kuchi has imbibed and in turn seeks to share with young students today, the future of tomorrow. Evidently, we seek to facilitate these essential skills referred to as the 21st century skills through play in young children. Alongside, we endeavor to support institutions in meeting educational goals, striving to supply students with motivation towards the acquisition of knowledge and these skills. Education is the key to individual and business prosperity, and Kuchi Global is humbled to unveil the first edition of the NLAS Scholarship Program. Today, on behalf of everybody at Team Kuchi, we stand here before you to acknowledge the support of everyone present in making us what we are. Consequently, we believe in this effort, in the cause of encouraging and providing the same motivation to deserving candidates in pursuing a great career. Today, we have 4 such young candidates that you will meet later. I hope these wonderful candidates who have won the scholarship today will make a huge contribution to the industry once they graduate. The next year, we will have 4 more joining these 4, and hence 8, and I hope that will grow to a sizable number over the years to come. Special mention to my good friend and a wonderful human being, Giulio Ceppi, who's come all the way from Italy to be here with us this evening. Giulio is truly a magician. With the wave of his hand, he transformed design and architecture, which I have seen personally in Italy. He didn't flinch once when I asked him to be here with us today. Thank you, Giulio. Mr. Minesh Parikh, a dear friend and mentor, when he heard of the scholarship program idea that I proposed, he left all his work, plunged right in to help us put this together, and has worked tirelessly to help us get this scholarship going. Minesh Bhai, please stand up. Yeah, a big applause.
Big applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you for all the support. Mr. Samir Mathur, who unfortunately is not here today, was gracious enough to sponsor 1 more scholarship. We have 4 now. Panelists Roger Gunn, Jaideep Chatterjee, the esteemed jurors, Ms. Sanju Bose, Dr. Aarti Grover, Ms. Sujata Kohli, Ms. Nandita Parikh, Ms. Swati Sarsabuddhe, Dr. Deepa Maheshwari, Madhu Majumdar, and Vikas Bosekar. The vision we have today is to build NLAS into a huge cause that will snowball every year. I can already see the enthusiasm growing as everybody is stepping forward to join this fabulous cause. I'm not going to take it any longer. Thank you once again for being here this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Das. Big ideas involve execution of collaborative thoughts. Roben just pointed out that's one of the 4 C's, which is collaboration, right? So up next, we have the founders of NMP Design, Mrs. and Mr. Minesh Parikh, who shared the vision and have been instrumental in making this particular program a success. I would like to request Ms. Sujata Kohli to kindly felicitate them with a bouquet of flowers.
Fantastic.
My joy is double because you are felicitating me. Okay, thank you very much.
Kind words going all around. A little bit more about NMP Foundation. NMP Foundation is a philanthropic effort supported by eminent landscape architects, again, Mrs. Nandita Parikh and Mr. Minesh Parikh. The NLAS Program 2018 is a Kuchi Global initiative supported by Foundation NMP, and its objective is to support and pledge scholarships for students of landscape architecture. NMP Foundation will support in curating and to run this program with the ultimate objective to institutionalize it. This program makes it possible for needy students who cleared the admission process to complete their studies without financial worries. The ultimate aim being to draw, retain, and nurture the best talent into the field of landscape architecture. I'd like to request Ms. Nandita Parikh and Mr. Minesh Parikh to kindly share a few words with us.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to have all of you here with us. And this program actually for us is a pure philanthropy, and we have no other interest except that after reaching a certain stage in life, we thought that we should do something for the students, because everything that we have with us today, name, fame, work, the trust of the people, and any other kind of wealth, that to both of us, for me and Nandita, it came to us from the profession of landscape architecture alone, and that's the only trade we have practiced all our life, and that's the only thing we have taught or done. So for us, it's a gesture of giving back to the profession of landscape architecture a little bit of what it has given to us. That was the basic idea with which we started. About a year and a half ago, Roben discussed the idea of scholarships, and then that idea was already a small idea in my mind, but I didn't have the courage to go ahead with it. But Roben is a fantastic person, you know. He is he is a genius at his work, but he also is very dynamic, and you know, he can start chasing things and whatnot. So encouraged by his support, we started working forward on it. And in its current format, what we have here is, it's a National Landscape Architecture Scholarship Program, NLAS, which is concurrently run in 3 institutions as of today: the SPA Delhi, CEPT Ahmedabad, and BNCA Pune. This year, to begin with, we had 3 scholarships. 2 were given out by Kuchi and 1 was given out by Foundation NMP. And we had 9 jurors, 3 each for each college. And out of the 3 jurors, 1 was the academic head of the college, and 2 were independent professionals from the fraternity. We conducted the juries of all the 3 colleges and selected the 3 candidates. But when the jury at SPA Delhi was going on, Samir Mathur, who was in the jury, and I was sitting in the jury as an observer, we realized that there was 1 scholarship and there were 5 or 6 deserving candidates. So while the jury was still on, Samir pledged 1 scholarship, and as a result, we are able to give this year scholarships to 4 students. But that is not our objective. The objective is that, as Raghu just pointed out, that we want to catalyze more people to join the movement. We want that as it grows, we want to reach a number of 20 in terms of the scholarships which are given out. And it's really a very small gesture. It's not a very big thing. And also, we have with us here in the audience Ms. Ekta Gyani, who is the head of the landscape program at Sushant School of Architecture. So next year, we have decided that Sushant School will also join this list. So next year, we'll run it in 4 institutions. And we have confirmed 4 scholarships for next year. But since this year is the first year, and if more people join in, we'll probably have more scholarships than this. And it's really a matter of honor that Giulio Ceppi is here with us today. So we will celebrate this evening. First, we will felicitate these children who have, come through the process of selection and are going to be awarded today. And we'll enjoy this presentation by Giulio and Nandita. And then we'll have an interesting panel discussion. So while it's a philanthropic effort, it's also a fun evening. Let everybody join. Thank you.
Mr. Minesh Parikh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, sir. I would now like to request Ms. Nandita Parikh to actually share her narrative with us, a historical narrative by Ms. Nandita Parikh. Ladies and gentlemen, please give her a round of applause.
Okay, good evening, friends, and let me first thank you for taking time from your busy schedules and joining us here today. Commencement of NLAS scholarship program is a small step in the right direction, and I sincerely hope that we are able to support it to the best of our judgment and ability in future as well. Thanks to our dear friend Roben, we are fortunate to have amongst us Mr. Giulio Ceppi, a celebrated Italian designer whose cutting-edge work in many fields of design is truly worth knowing. So we look forward to an engaging and informative session with you. Now, to set the tone for a contemporary Italian narrative from Giulio, let me take you through on a journey through the built heritage of that country. A city or a settlement is known as much about its landmark building as it is known for its open spaces. Not just the quality of open spaces, but more importantly, the connect people have with them. Open spaces in public domain belong to all. They are an intrinsic part of urban living that gives a sense of belonging and relief from the rigors of daily routine. At the same time, they also function as an arena of celebrations. They exist as destinations, a purpose-built set for interaction and ritual. And historic squares and plazas in Italian towns are a study in understanding the vibrant spirit of urban landscapes. So I hope this is going to be a short, fun presentation, not a lecture, though I know there are a lot of students of mine in the audience where I'll talk about a few iconic places. Now, we are all familiar with Camillo Sotto's book on city planning, which surmised the design of urban squares in a few to-the-point observations. The first one is about the relationship between the buildings and the plazas. Now, landmarks such as churches, town halls, and palaces were an anchor for most of the important urban spaces. This strategy worked in a mutually cohesive manner, where the built gave a sense of focus or identity, and the open spaces formed a setting for it. This is beautifully seen in the piazza at Pisa, near the Duomo. Here, the church art, which is seen in the baptistry building, the cathedral, and the campanile or the tower, is set in full display without distractions of mundane urbanity. Take note of the leaning tower, which is not just tilted in the vertical axis, but it's also not aligned to the horizontal axis. And you can see that maybe a designer has gone rogue and he's created this mess. But the plaza absorbs all the anomalies and celebrates the presence of these seemingly pure built forms. Second observation states that the center of the plaza be kept free. This aspect essentially gives the space rather than the mass an upper hand in composition. And at the same time, it resulted in a diagonal or an oblique approach to an important building, enhancing the play of perspective view. And the last one states that the public squares should be enclosed entities. To take a few more examples, I would like to start with Rome. It is said that Rome was not built in a day, and I don't think any city is. But it alludes to the fact that through the ages, right from Baroque times of Pope Sixtus, there has been a continuous effort to improve upon the city form and reinvent its spaces. Piazza de Campidoglio is set in one of the 7 and the highest hills of Rome. It was deemed to be the symbolic heart of the city. But prior to the magic of Michelangelo, the space was just a gap between 3 structures, as you can see from the left picture. This space established quite powerful that the space itself could be the subject of design. A degree of integration between the building architecture, the placement of the structure, a sculpture in the center, and modulation of land in the form of an oval, and simple 2-dimensional oval could create such an iconic urban space. So we all know of this oval, but it's on site, it's simply a paving pattern, but it has such a strong recall and iconic image that it stands on its own. Now, next on my list is St. Peter's Square in Rome, in front of the most important church in the world, which looked like this in the 17th century. This is an etching of St. Peter's Basilica. When Bernini was given the task of creating, as he said, the maternal arms of church, welcoming and embracing the faithful. And in process, he designed one of the greatest urban spaces ever conceived. The main oval is simultaneously open and enclosed. The square interacts with the world beyond. And the central obelisk, it functions as a node where all the directions meet. It is difficult to perceive there, but it is also said to function as a sundial. And the transparent columns, they create an edge which breathes. It's not a wall, it's something, there is a depth, and it defines the space, and yet it's transparent. And this place actually becomes a magnet of humanity during the celebrations, where almost 3 lakh people can congregate here. Now, after the scale and grandeur of St. Peter's, here is a small and unique urban space called the Spanish Steps. Now, a bit of a trivia first. There is a church here which was actually supported by the kings of France. And these steps were funded by the French ambassador to link to the plaza below. Now, incidentally, there is a Spanish embassy right next to the church, so these steps came to be known as Spanish Steps. And this place became meaningful to Americans after the movie The Roman Holiday, where Hepburn says, "We have Rome." So here it is, simply a series of steps in Italy, funded by French, named after Spain, and made famous by Americans. And it's not a square in conventional form. It's a series of terraces or landings, which makes it an amphitheater where one can rest, pause, become a spectator of urban life. And incidentally, you can sit there, but you can't have lunch. It is dictated by the authorities. And this is one of the few places in urbanity which comes alive during spring when they have a flower market there. Another example is the Trevi Fountain, which is located at the junction of 3 streets. Spectacular water effects. It has an amazing connect with people. So much so that they say every day, 3,000 euros are collected from coins. But the space around it is severely compromised. It doesn't have the horizontal volume to do justice to this effect. And so much so that there are selfie brawls among tourists here. So an iconic space which is much photographed, but actually doesn't have the horizontal space around it. Now, Venice. What can be said about it? It's such a tapestry of lagoons and streets that it has a structure which is amazing. The built form which is evolved over time, and it has its own life and charm. Now, Piazza San Marco, what we know today as a landmark, as an iconic place, but it actually went through stages 1, 2, and 3, where a very intense effort was taken up by city builders to doing things like closing canals, taking out the campanile separately, enclosing it with buildings, doing the facades, putting aside the tar, and most interestingly, these 2 columns, which somehow link it to a vista much farther than the space itself. So it is more than simply an open space. It's something which relates to a much larger meaning of urban life. And this lower picture really gives me jitters, because suddenly we are working with a scale which drowns the sort of beauty of Venice. So then Venice is famous for too many churches. In fact, they have churches which they can't maintain. They are looking at opening or giving them out to clubs, but then all the churches give meaning to an urban space in front of it. Florence has a similar typology where each church, this is the Duomo, it has an open space around it, which really, it's again, you can think of it as a sculpture set in an open space, and it's beautifully done and at the same time beautifully maintained. They've amalgamated in the modernity in a very, very dynamic manner. Last but not the least, Siena. Siena was a favorite of mine. I had studied it as an architecture student, but when I went there, it really gave me a surprise. It is essentially two spaces. One is the main piazza here, and the other is the open space around the Duomo, which in view it's this and it's this. So it is, the piazza especially is a very distinct enclosed entity. This is the main church, but this is the beauty. And I read somewhere that the open spaces or urban spaces always they link to the natural forces, which means that whatever is the topography, it comes out. And in this piazza, it's on a hilltop, but you don't look out. What is interesting is the slope. There is almost, if I can guess it right, it's almost 1 in 50 slope, which means that you are actually in a bowl where there is a very steep slope which sort of converges. Now, interestingly, it has these 9 triangles which represent 9 clans or tribes or groups of that region which came together and built this, and it is actually used like that. So it is a tourist place, but for the locals, it actually comes alive like this. So this is just a short presentation, and I think it sets the tone of how Italy looks at its spaces, how responsible they are for it, and how it has evolved. It's a design, but as Giulio said yesterday, the design did not drop from the god. It actually built up from the ground, and it very nicely alludes and meets up with the people's aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parikh. That was immensely insightful. Can we please have another round of applause for Ms. Parikh? Moving on next, let's take a quick glance at how we arrived at the decisions involving the scholarship awardees. Applications were solicited at the colleges from all eligible students based on merit, background, and achievements, graciously supported by the faculty of the respective colleges. Our revered panel of jurors across specialized domains took out time from their busy schedules to review the applications, interview the applicants, and deliberated extensively to finally select 4 students who they all agreed as ones who deserved the scholarship. A lot of thought, time, and effort has been involved through this entire process. We now move on to the scholarship awards ceremony. May I call upon Dr. Aarti Grover, Assistant Professor at the SPA New Delhi, to share the journey of the scholarship process and announce the winners.
So, good evening everyone. Before I start announcing the scholarships for Delhi, I have to actually mention this, that one feels really humbled to be a part of this process in maybe a very small way, but yes, it's a very, very beautiful gesture and we must congratulate the people who are involved in that. So, yeah, I've been called to talk about the jurors and the people who are receiving these awards in SPA Delhi. So the panel of jurors in Delhi were Mr. Samir Mathur, Ms. Sanju Bose and myself. And 16 of our students had applied for the scholarship. So as has already been told in the evening that yes, we had a detailed discussion with each one of them, and they were selected on the basis of some criteria, which was one, of course, basic level of diligence and intelligence, of course, but also the kind of requirement of the students. So a jury was conducted at SPA on 14th of September, and believe me, it was a good day for us also to know our students a little more than we do in the classrooms. But yes, a lot of discussion and deliberations after that led to the results, where two of my beautiful students got the award, Miss Jesna Sankumar and Miss Akshaya, out of which Miss So yes, as Minesh already told, that Jesna was given the award as the first person, but then Mr. Samir Mathur pledged the second award, which Akshaya got, and that's all about the Delhi awards. Can I call the next?
No, I think we'll give the award to all the candidates. Call the candidates.
So can I just call up Miss Jesna Sankumar now?
I'd like to request Ms. Ratna Mathur to please join us and award Jesna Sankumar with the check on behalf of Mr. Samir Mathur, Principal Architect. A round of applause for Ms. Jesna Sankumar. Can I also request Ms. Anjali Tiwari to kindly award the certificate to Jesna? Congratulations, Jesna.
Can we now
A big round of applause, please.
Yeah. Can we have Miss Akshaya K now?
I'd like to request Mr. Minesh Parikh to kindly join us and hand over the check to Ms. Akshaya. And also Ms. Sujata Hingorani to please award the certificate. Thank you, Mr. Parikh.
Excuse me, Parikh ji.
So this is about Delhi Awards, and I'll give the mic to the next, maybe the next BNCA is the next one. But before I leave the stage, I have to say that yes, a lot of effort has gone into it, but what is more to be appreciated is the feeling.
Thank you, Dr. Grover. I'd like to invite Mr. Madhup Mazumdar to kindly share his experience as a juror at BNCA Pune and also announce the winner.
Thank you. I'd like to first of all congratulate NMP Foundation for rolling out such a noble initiative, and Kochi team for supporting it so well. It was an honor indeed for me to be part of the esteemed jury. It's very satisfying to see how the industry and the profession today has joined hands to get back to the academics and giving it back to the future generations who can expand their opportunities to get enrolled to esteemed universities. So our jury members, two of them cannot be here today. Vikas Bhosekar, practicing senior landscape architect from Pune, Swati Sahasrabudhe, landscape architect and head of the department BNCA Pune, and myself were indeed very much moved to know the grit, the determination to reach out for the dreams for all the candidates. It was also a great experience and touching moment for us once we selected the candidate. We had 3 applicants, and our jury was happening over a digital platform. We could not sit together, but it was happening on a digital platform, and we finalized the winner. And the winner for BNCA Pune goes to Mrs. Pranali Kasar. Pranali, can I have you on stage?
I'd like to invite Mr. Roben Das to kindly hand over the check. And Mr. Chitesh Gupta to please award the certificate. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please have Mr. Roger Gunn actually join us and award the certificate to
Thank you very
gentlemen.
much for the opportunity. Congratulations once again, and also congratulations for the other college scholarship winners. I think I have to pass it on to Sujata for SEPT, announcement of the SEPT. Yeah.
You just have to say the names. Again, I think this being a phenomenal, day that effort like this has been done in our profession, and which will go a long way. And I think all these people who are getting the awards today or the scholarships today, one day would be standing there in place of Minesh and Robin and given the other deserving candidates the same. So that's what we hope to do, That's how the journey should carry on. So I'll just ask Madhu to take the name of the person who was chosen for SEPT, because for some reasons I couldn't join the jury. So I'll just request him that. Okay, the jury members, the other 2 jury members of Nandita, everybody's familiar with, and Deepa Maheshwari, who's heading the department there and has been associated with the institute for, I think, as far as I remember, maybe 20-25 years, and she worked very closely with Professor Bhagwat, who did who was one of the pioneers in our profession. So I think between the 2 of them and the different applicants total were 7. Miss Prachi Panmakar, Miss Dhawani Poker, Mr. Siddharth Ambalia, Miss Vidisha Barwal, Miss Sushmita Bhattacharya, Miss Divya Mishra, and Miss Parita Jani. Yeah. And the one selected for the scholarship is Miss Divya Mishra. Please come in here. So who's going to come in there?
I'd like to request Mr. Roger Gunn to kindly hand over the check to Ms. Divya Mishra. Congratulations, Divya. And I'd like to request Ms. Aline Noella, CEO of Kuchi Global, to kindly hand over the certificate.
With this, I'll thank again the Nandita and Minesh and Kuchikyo for this beautiful initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Kohli. Thank you for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. We certainly hope these awards will help the students design their destiny. Synonymous with design is the name of a man who is often referred to as a magician. Well, that happened earlier this evening. Okay. Sometimes a genius, and sometimes brilliance personified. And we certainly feel that none of those adjectives do justice to this gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Giulio Ceppi. I'd like to request Mr. Chitesh Gupta to join us again and kindly felicitate Mr. Ceppi with a bouquet of flowers.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. First, I have to go down.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Ladies and gentlemen, an Italian narrative by Mr. Giulio Ceppi. Another round of applause for him, please.
Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here and to see that we can build some bridge between Italy and India. And it was a pleasure to have a look to your presentation, and also I'm a little embarrassed after Michelangelo, Bernini, to try to present something that will be ugly compared to what we have seen. So, but I will try to bring you one example. And this example is related to our approach to design, architecture, and landscape that is always very careful of the different scales and the different details, and the fact that in Italy we always try to find a relationship between each detail and the big view and the big scale. It's not easy, and I'm not so good as the people that we have seen before, but I will try to show you this example hoping it could be inspirational to you. This is what in Indian is called bata. What's the name? Daba. No? So it's an Italian daba. No? And this started as a public company in the 50s when Italy was booming, not like today in economics, but in another century. And as Italians, we are crazy as you are about food. So Italians refuse to have sandwiches while traveling by cars. So they decided to have restaurant, and important restaurant. And this company today, to give you an idea, has more than 1,000 restaurants in Italy, is bigger than McDonald's. The turnover of Autogrill, that's the name of the company, is 5 billion euros. So it's the largest company on food on the move on the planet. They have a lot of restaurants also out of Italy, in US, in UK, and now they just don't stay on highway, they stay in airport, in railway station, everywhere people has to grab some food while traveling. But we started with this very iconic architecture because if we were crazy about the idea of making a restaurant, we also find a way to give an identity to these places. And in my personal history, I had to face this tripodic building, this very strange building, inspired to an American architecture that was in front of my building. That should be a building challenging the new century, as this building in the 50s was challenging the last century. And the highway that you see there with few cars now was one of the most attended highway in Europe, the most attended in Italy, with a lot of commuters and the travelers. It is north of Milan. It's connecting Milan to Switzerland, Milan to the main airport, to the expo ground. So it's a place with a lot of traffic jam, not like you see in this picture. And when I started this project, as in any project, to me some goals were really very relevant, as we had to really face the new century and the new behavior of people. So to be sustainable and to be, let's say, sensorially rich was very important, because sometimes, I don't know what you believe about this, but in Europe the perception is that sustainability is something poor, it's something that generates product and environment that are not cool enough. Instead, my goal was try to bring together these two assets and to show that you can be green and you can be very cool at the same time, because the perception that we have, again, is that sometimes sustainability doesn't match elegance. It's not true at all. So I go quickly, because these are just projects I did before this building, because you know, in every architecture project you do, there is always something that is coming from what you did before, but there is also something related to what you would do in the future. So every project is connected to your past experience, maybe to what you have not done before and what you would like to do next. So it's important to understand that you learn every time, because if you work at different scale, as I'm used to do, you have a lot of, let's say, cross-fertilization, a lot of transfer from people as well from different cultures. No? For example, this was a very colorish wind park I did in the middle of the ocean between Africa and US. But I go quickly to this building that has been the result of a competition between 10 important boroughs in Italy. And I believe I won the idea because I didn't want to design a building. I wanted to design an alive organism. I wanted to design a building able to exchange energy between the earth and the sky. And it's not a metaphor, because it really does this. And you will see how it does this. Because the shape of the building is strongly connected to the technology that allows the building to be sustainable. You can design a shape and then attach some technology to this. It will never work. So my idea was to design a sort of octopus, a sort of jellyfish, something maybe not so regular, but more organic, but also able to grab the people arriving by car and bringing the people, like with a hug, into the building. Because you decide when you're driving the car to stop, and when you decide to stop, somehow you're already entering the building, because you can't enter in the building with the car, obviously. Italians would like to do this. They always try to go as closer as they can, but it's not a drive-in, so you have to step down from your car and to get in. And then I had in front, you will see the building I showed you before. So I also felt the need to grow in height and to have a volume in order to become a sort of gate, because you will see when you arrive from the highway, you have these two buildings, and this is a sort of new landmark entering the city of Milan, arriving from the north of Milan. So I started with this kind of mood, with this kind of shaping. But then, again, my building is a small landmark, because these were the drawings I did for the competition. Then, according to the Italian rules, I couldn't do this building red. And because red is the color of emergency in signage. And they tell me, oh, if you do this red, people will stop the car. I said, are you joking? They were not joking. So I had to change the color, you will see, but then I found a way to do my design equally. You will see. So I went for very bare and simple and natural material with less paintings, less chemical treatment as possible. I did a big landscaping of the whole area, because back to the building there is the largest truck area in Italy. So in these places, normally trucks are divided by car. They don't have to match together. But truckers are people working on the road. They are professionals. They are not traveling for leisure or just by chance. They do a lot of kilometers, and they need elegance and a place where they can recharge their batteries. So also the outdoor part was mainly dedicated to them, with special station where you can stop and check your truck, because to leave your truck alone is very dangerous in Italy. I don't know in India, but in Italy it's better not to do this. And also inside you will see we design special feature to them. And then how does this building work? This building works because I don't know if you have this technology in India, because the kind of climate you have here, there's no big difference between winter and summer. Mainly you have one season more rainy or less rainy. But in Italy, where this building is based, summertime and wintertime has very different temperature. And as you know, earth is one of the best isolating material you can have. So we use a technology which is called heat pump in order to make 420 holes. Let's say we put 420 poles under the ground, and when the air out is very hot, the earth is cold. And so you can use the difference between the air temperature and the earth temperature to generate energy. And this is a system that I have not invented, but we have used into all the parking area and under the building, and as a payback of 5-6 years, and then it means that for the next 60-70 years you have energy for free. Obviously you have to invest some money today to have a different and more sustainable system, but then you use some natural, let's say, process in order to generate it. And that's not enough, because this is a long-term, let's say, system, but you will see later that I use the roof of the building also to exchange energy with the air, and this is a skeleton of the roofing system that is all being designed in wood, using laminated wood. So it means that this roof is 10 times less impacting than concrete, and 30 times less impacting in sustainability than stainless steel. And when you are an architect, these are the decisions that you have to take, and you have to convince your client if they want to have a LEED certification, and in this case that you have to use different material, different technologies. Also, to realize this surface and this volume in wood was not such a joke. No? And this shape also allows you to have natural ventilation inside the building, because hot air tries to go up. We have natural lighting into the building, and also we have a short of breath, because when you enter the building, you have this shape which is attracting you in one direction toward the sky. Huh? We have some section now. I go quickly. I don't stop because we don't have time to go into detail. This is just a simple scheme of how does this building breathes, because as I said, I can use the low breath of seasonability related to earth and air, but then my roof is all covered with copper, which is one of the best conductor, and it means that if the sun is really strong, as I have water pipes under this copper skin, I can transfer the hotness of the sun into the water. Or maybe in a very cold night in winter time, I can exhaust the excess of hotness, because inside is full of refrigerator, a machine that do produce hot air outside. So it's a very sophisticated machine. When I said it's an organism, it's really true, because it can exchange in the long term or in real time energy with the sky and with the earth. So it's not a metaphor. It's something that makes this building 60% more efficient than a traditional building. And that's a place where you use a lot of energy, because you are cooking, you are freezing, you are eating, so you are doing many, many things. And then, not because it's less important, because this is the most important part to me, is what we did for people. Because I'm not interested in architecture itself, I'm not interested in technology, I'm not interested in shaping, I'm interested in people. We design building because this is a 24-hour a day open building, 365 days a year.
it's always on, nighttime, daytime, Christmas Day, every time. And it has more or less 10,000 people going in every day. So it's for you it's nothing. For Italy, it's a big number. Trust me. So we try to design for these people that are different services and different relationships. Because at the end, this is the meaning of this building. So, for example, we design a special area. You will see a video later, so I'll go quick now, for truckers where they have special toilet, for example, with a laundry, with a drying machine, with shower, because they are professionals working on the road and they have different needs from other people. Then, for example, we design at the first floor in the volume a temporary office that you can rent using an app. And so you can decide, instead of going in the city center of Milan and congestionating the city center, that you stop there and you have a meeting with your partner and you can have a meeting in this, let's say, restaurant. No? And this is for free. Obviously, then you drink a Coke, you eat a sandwich, so Autogrill makes its money, but it offers you a smart service. No? And now I'll go very, very quickly through the construction process, but I can't stop on this because otherwise it will become too long. But also the way we built this building was very quick and very sustainable, trying to move as land as possible, to dig as less as possible, to pre-build as more as possible in order to be quick and clean. And this is very important because if a work takes 3 years, I mean, everybody is polluting, going back and forward, and we are beside a highway, so you can be too noisy for the people traveling or too. So this is the part related to the wood construction that was very important and was totally prefab. So they just assembled this there, much quicker than doing concrete jobs where you have to wait a lot of time for the maturation of. This is the skin in copper that has been done like in the Middle Age with people living for 2 months on the roof of the building, and because of this shape, which is very irregular, shaping each piece once for each, because it was much quicker than any CAD, any 3D design that it will take too much time then and too much complexity. So I just want to arrive to, you see the relationship between the two buildings, because one is feminine and empty, the other one is, and don't joke on this, it's masculine and full. And all my friends are still taking joke about this on me. So everything inside is LED. There is no any tungsten light yet. Everything has been done with LED, working with Iguzzini, which is a very famous worldwide lighting company. And then we also try to explain to the visitor of this building how this building works, because I wanted everybody entering just for a sandwich to understand in which kind of organism they were spending their time. So we try with these pictograms and with a lot of information inside of the building to explain that the building is alive, that it's saving energy, that it's saving trees, that it's saving water. We can collect all the water from the roof and use the water for toilet flush. We can do a lot of things that are now impossible to be told. This is just my personal revenge, and I'm always very proud of this, because when they said me can't be red, they write me a letter very bureaucratically saying you can be painted red, okay? So I lighten it red. So nighttime it becomes red just with a LED stripe on the top, just by natural, let's say, fall. No? So I took my revenge against the bureaucrats, because in Italy we have a lot of bureaucrats. Don't worry. And so, for example, you see all the communication inside, how we tried in a simple way, but to explain people the numbers that are back to this building, that are important to try to educate people to sustainability and to to think why it is in wood, that under your feet there are this heat pump system and so on. And then, okay, I design for restaurants, I design also the dressing of people, I design everything, from spoon, let's say, to the whole building, no? And that's our obsession as Italian. We want the control of everything, no? Then we can control anything, but we want the control of everything, no? At least in terms of design. And last but not least, this is very, very important. This was the first building in Italy to get a Design for All certification. What does it mean? That this building has been designed for the best accessibility and inclusion. So, for example, there are no toilets for handicapped people. All the toilets are for handicapped people. But you don't realize it because, honestly speaking, toilets for handicapped people are ugly, are terrible. First, it doesn't work. And secondly, they divide people instead of putting people together. So all the toilets are designed, can be used by people on a wheelchair. But you don't realize it. You just go and it works. No? The market, in this building, there is an important market where people buy food, souvenir, and incredible. It's 40% of the turnover of the building is the market. So the shelves are 1.10 meters height, in order that a child or a people from a wheelchair can take products, and you get a big transparency. You can see everything when you are into the building, so you don't feel stuck like in a supermarket that I hate, into shelves, in the middle of the goods, in these horrible boxes. So you own the whole space. No? So Design for All is not about being good, it's not about charity, it's about helping people. Really, charity is good, do not misunderstand me, but it's about, let's say, making also this building more profitable, because I want to be sustainable, I want to be clean, I want to be good, but my clients want to make money. Otherwise, I'm wrong. Otherwise, next time we will take another architect. So it's important that you try to do this, and this helps your client to make more money, because that's what company wants to do at the end. Huh? It's not bad. It's the reason of their existence. Otherwise, they will not exist. Do you agree, Robin? Okay, good. So these are the toilet for the truckers. But then I show you a video. These are the temporary office on the first floor. But now I will show you a quick video, because it's difficult to speak about an architecture if you have not visited it. So you are all invited to Italy. I don't know if Cucci is going to pay you a ticket. Maybe next scholarship. No? Maybe we can include a package to Piazza in Siena or Campidoglio. No? So have a look to this video and then.
Inspired by the power of a visionary idea, a place where movement seems suspended, where contacts and transits intersect, a laboratory for constant innovation, where you experience a new dimension of travel, enjoyment and consumption. The new Autogrill Villoresi is all this and much more. We are on the A8 Milan-Laghi, one of Italy's busiest motorways, at the threshold of one of northern Italy's most important cities. In 1957, Mario Pavesi and architect Angelo Bianchetti created an icon of made-in-Italy modernism right here, the Autogrill at the Villoresi Ovest service area. An architectural structure whose innovative tripod shape is a distinctive landmark on the motorway network. Now, 60 years later, the most futuristic autogrill ever built. The new Villoresi.
L'idea di fondo era quella di costruire una struttura che non avesse bisogno di energia esterna per sopravvivere in qualche modo, che fosse autosufficiente. Questo era il sogno, diciamo così, l'idea di partenza su cui abbiamo lavorato, un'idea che dobbiamo abbattere i consumi, che dobbiamo costruire un business più leggero dal punto di vista dei costi e anche più sostenibile dal punto di vista dell'impatto delle persone, dell'impatto dell'ambiente.
High-impact, compelling architecture inspired by a sustainable future and the group's international experience, like the Delaware Welcome Center, the Urban Garden at Chicago Airport, the ecological autogrill at Mensa di Ravenna, with the historic Villoresi Ovest, the new building represents a bridge between autogrill's past and future, reflecting harmony with the environment and integration with the surrounding area.
Guardando l'edificio di Villoresi dall'alto si coglie la sua natura di organismo, di cellula. La forma è una conseguenza di un bisogno funzionale, l'impiantistica, il respiro di questo edificio ha bisogno di volume per potersi attuare, no? Per poter essere rinnovabile e sostenibile come l'abbiamo concepito fin dall'inizio.
The new Villoresi, an example of architectural excellence, a volcanic shape reaching up evocatively to a height of over 27 meters. But above all, this building offers advanced system solutions that give it exceptional performance in terms of environmental sustainability and energy saving, a piece of the future within everybody's reach.
La rivoluzione tecnologica parte sicuramente dall'uso congiunto di un tetto captante che raccoglie il quantitativo termico dato dal sole e dall'uso della geotermia a circuito chiuso.
The combined use of the solar roof and closed-circuit geothermal system provides savings of around 45% of electricity consumption, the equivalent to the annual consumption of 40 families. The new Villoresi is also a laboratory for innovation in interior design, a pioneering experience in breaking down barriers, a genuine model of accessibility for all. A precise analysis of travelers' needs, carried out in collaboration with the Design for All Association, has influenced the design of walkways and services, creating a perfect response to every need.
Autogrill ha deciso di affrontare il progetto in maniera assolutamente innovativa. Ha deciso di costituire un gruppo di lavoro eterogeneo, composto da alcuni ragazzi con problemi di mobilità, da alcuni ragazzi con problemi di visione, ipovedenti o non vedenti, per cui ascoltare innanzitutto i bisogni delle persone e provare poi a dargli una risposta.
Accessibility for all means that every client is able to enjoy the sales point spaces comfortably and with no restrictions. Here are just a few examples. Uninterrupted interior walkways with no barriers. Restrooms with spaces to cater for every need. A new service model at the Chow restaurant, helping clients personalize their meal. Special attention is paid to families with children, with reserved parking, facilitated access ways, and dedicated toilet lounges. It's not just the spaces, the rhythms suit everyone too. The new Villoresi offers different experiences. Fast, for those who want to optimize their travel time and just take a quick break. Slow, for clients who prefer a longer pause, which they can savor and enjoy. Two different ways of experiencing the rest period, coexisting harmoniously in walkways and spaces that the client recognizes immediately. Innovation and personalization in the range and design of services, making it easy for travelers to identify the service package that suits them and satisfies their needs.
L'offerta sia food sia retail è molto innovativa, ma nel solco della tradizione italiana. In particolare l'area market è stata rivista completamente, cercando di proporre al consumatore le specialità italiane, le marche italiane, l'eccellenza italiana, in un ambiente accogliente molto moderno, molto di design.
The services include free Wi-Fi, business centre for professional clients. Parking with video surveillance, dedicated area for recharging electric cars, toilets, showers and special lounge for truckers, fast cafe snack bar and convenience market for commuters and travellers, and much more besides. The new Villoresi, the autogrill for the third millennium, a harmonious combination of tradition and evolution, where travellers' needs and environmental concerns shape fresh responses to the new consumption styles.
È un progetto temerario e quasi visionario visto oggi. È un progetto però che ha un orizzonte lungo, è un progetto fatto per restare 30 anni. Io penso che dia anche un significato simbolico, il fatto che Autogrill vuole comunque essere un importante player, crede nel futuro di questo business e ha in qualche modo testato e costruito un sogno, una visione.
Hospitality, passion, innovation. These are the values that inspire Autogrill, a group with a long-standing commitment to researching solutions designed for tomorrow.
Okay.
The new Autogrill Villoresi.
I hope, as the CEO of Autogrill said, and when I listened to him saying that I can see still a little scared about this building, and I'm happy to see people scared about my project, because it means that your project is challenging. And when he said this is a vision, it's true, but it's a vision that becomes reality. And so I hope that also, as you mentioned this word before, the people that has been helped this evening with this scholarship will be so, let's say, outrageous to use this money to keep their vision or to build their vision, because also India needs powerful vision as anybody of us. But the important is from paper or from your screen to go into reality. Otherwise the visions become utopia, and maybe you can build also beautiful utopia, but that will stay maybe in our mind, that is very important, but mainly on paper. Instead, I hope maybe together we can make more vision and to make design and architecture and landscaping really to affect and to change in a better way society. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you much, Mr. Ceppi. Always a pleasure to listen to you. I'd like to call upon Mr. Jaideep Chatterjee, the Vice Dean and Professor at Jindal School of Arts and Architecture, to kindly felicitate Ms. Sonali Bhagwati, President of DPA, with a bouquet of flowers. Can I please request you to share a few words with us, Ms. Bhagwati?
Thank you so much for having me here. I think it's the projects that we've seen. Nandita's presentation was really very, very nice. It's something that we've all have seen, but these things are so timeless that every time you see and hear about it, it just rejuvenates you. And of course, the Autogrill project, extremely inspiring, very, very nice. And I think it's wonderful to have everybody to have this landscape scholarships. And I'm really, really honored to be a part of this. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Ms. Bhagwati. I'd like to call upon Ms. Jasleen Waraj, the President of the Delhi chapter of the Indian Society of Landscape Architects, to felicitate Mr. Roger Gunn, the Director of Landscape Architecture at ACOM, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, Ms. Viraj, and Mr. Gunn. Would you please share a few words with us?
I am a man of few words, as my staff will tell me. But it was interesting to listen to Giulio here because some of the comments he's made, and he's 2,000 miles plus away from here of us in Delhi, but one thing that stood out for me was the way we combined three words and where we talked about elegant and generational sustainability. And it's not often that you actually see those three words combined. And I think the big challenge here in India is to look at that little sentence that we've got there, those three words, and work out how we're actually going to take that forward. We see a lot of the initiatives that are being put in place now by the government, and I won't get into politics, but they're all good things in the long term, and we should be supporting them. And I think the biggest thing we've got to do is actually create awareness, not just with us, because we're all aware, but it's with the rest of the population. And I think it's about the doing, showing and leading by example, the things that we take for granted that should be done by a community and a population, and actually embedding that into the way other people look at what their society is and their values and their ecology and the places they live in, which I think is going to lead us into what we talk about later with the public realm. So I'll stop there. But congratulations to the 4 lucky winners. I think it's a great innovation and it's certainly an incentive. And certainly when you finish your time, come and talk to us at ACOM.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. I'd like to request our guests on stage to kindly allow us some time to rearrange the stage for the panel discussion coming up. So please join us here.